name is Judie VanKooiman, co-host of Everything Nonprofit.
And I'm Joe Aponte, co-host and Connect Director at the Neighborhood Developers.
I am also the nonprofit liaison for the Revere Chamber. It's exciting to have Joe join us on the show and hopefully going forward. And our guest is Brendan O'Brien, president of Rumney Marsh Burial Ground, and Mina, who is 12 years old and Brendan's daughter. Welcome, Mina.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for spending your day with us. So, why did you join this organization?
I was always interested in old cemeteries, even as a kid and as a teenager. And as I got older and the interest in them kind of got more serious, I thought, how amazing it is that they still exist. Everything isn't built up around them, yet they're still the same. And I wanted to be able to do something to help preserve and protect them and things like that. So when I found out that there was a burial ground restoration committee in Revere, I had to be a part of it.
That's amazing. How long have you been on the board?
It's been about 7 or 8 years now. And I should probably mention that the board is a collaborative effort, group of people. Ira Novoselsky has been there since day one. Bob Upton, who a lot of people know, is very important to the group. My wife Janelle is involved. Bill Reedy and Tom Sullivan, both Revere legends. They do a lot of work down there. Pam Anderson, another important member of the group. So it's a really good group to be involved in. It's very efficient, do a lot of good work. Just very happy to be in charge of it now.
That's amazing. It sounds like a real all-star group.
Oh, definitely.
And so where is the burial ground, for those who don't know?
The burial ground is on Butler Street, and it's a couple blocks down from the Revere Public Library.
Amazing. Thanks, Mina.
And how far back does the first burial go?
The first burial was a woman named Mary Smith, and she died in 1693.
And the last burial?
The last burial was a man named Louis Bullard, and he was buried there in 1929.
So do you know how old he was when he was buried?
I think, he was a Civil War soldier, so if he made it to the 1920s, must have been in his 80s, I think. Don't check my math, but I think
So that was
somewhere in that
life,
ballpark. Yeah.
Especially for back then, because I think they would die when they were a little bit younger than that, I think is what I can tell.
Well, it's funny because you look at some of the old stones, and it seems like if you made it, to 60, then you were kind of playing with house money. You could live to 80, 90. So it wasn't like definitely everybody, like 45 was old age. There's a wider range of ages than you would think.
Okay, awesome. And is it just Revere residents that are buried there?
Sort of, not exactly, because if you look back at the development of Revere, originally, it was all just part of Boston. Then they split. Revere became Rumney Marsh, and Winthrop was Pullen Point. Chelsea's Winnisimmett. Then Revere was part of Chelsea for a while. Then it was North Chelsea, and not Revere until I think 1871. So there's people really from Revere, Winthrop, and Chelsea there. And if you go to more recent cemeteries, like Winthrop Cemetery or Chelsea Gardens Cemetery, you can see the names, the same families that just kind of branched off. So, yeah, quote unquote, it's all Revere, but different parts in history. Revere was other things.
Okay.
It's amazing to see to hear about the development over hundreds of years. And so the burial ground specifically, how did the history look of the burial ground over that time?
So in 1693, the Hazy family owned, that was their farm, basically. I think Hazy Street is right behind the burial ground now off of Harris. So they were the first people to say, yeah, you can have a corner of our land to be, the cemetery. Wasn't until 1748, so the Cheever family owned it then. And when I think it was Joshua Cheever, so when he died, in his will, he said that will be the official, town burial ground, like forever, basically. So it wasn't until then, 1748, it officially became the town burial ground.
And who were the founders of the burial ground?
I guess you'd have to say those families, the Hazeys and the Cheevers, and I think there were, because back in those days when it was the farm sort of system, people would have little corners, family plots, and things like that. But they were the first ones to say, okay, let's just centralize it. Let's make this officially the burial ground. So those, if there were founders, yeah, it would be those families, particularly, I guess, the Cheevers. They made it official.
Amazing. And those epic 2 large stones at the entrance, what's the story behind those?
Tell us about those, Means.
The larger stone tells the whole backstory about the burial ground, and he kind of talked about what is on that stone. It's like a whole summary. And on the smaller stone, it's a plaque with all the names of veterans who are buried in the burial ground from the colonial wars to the Civil War.
Very nice. Cool. Yeah. So I take it you go down to the cemetery, the burial grounds here and there, help out?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. That's cool that kids do that kind of thing and stuff. So.
Oh, definitely. Anything with history, you really want to get youth involved.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. And you've been working on a project. Can you please tell us more?
Yeah. So the current research project is finding out what we have there, people who are buried there without gravestones. Because it's very difficult to tell a cemetery of this age, record keeping of those eras. You know, you'll never get an exact number. But it was very weird a couple years ago. A friend of ours, basically, he said, hey, I found these records in like the City Hall archives, and they're related to the burial ground. I thought you'd like to have them. I'm like, yeah, of course. So he made copies. And I'm looking through these lists, and I see dozens and dozens of names that I don't recognize. They're not on headstones down there. And I realized that there are probably hundreds. But you look at the burial ground, it's small. You wouldn't think that you could fit that many people. But in addition to the actual headstones, I think there are hundreds of people who are buried there without any kind of commemoration. So I've been trying to go through that list, try to figure out if there are any mistakes, they actually buried elsewhere. And just trying to figure out a way to kind of verify, and then, how can we sort of commemorate, these people as well. A lot of interesting research, looking through old Revere Journal articles and stuff like that. So trying to work on like a long form sort of article to summarize everything. And once we get that out there, we'll figure out something to do down there to actually sort of let people know, a lot of people down here that aren't, officially, commemorated. So that's kind of the current research project. Yeah.
Okay. And there is a huge list of people that are buried. And how did you do that? And was there a list posted somewhere else?
A couple different sources for that. There's The History of Revere. There's a book by a guy named Benjamin Shurtleff, and he wrote that in 1938. I think it's all digitized. It's online. Library must have copies. We have a few at the museum. But what he did when he was putting the book together is he went through the burial ground, and probably in 1937. He wrote down everything, every single gravestone. He transcribed, he wrote the names, the dates, the epitaphs. He wrote it all down. So that's there. In City Hall, they have a map. It's like a surveyor's map from 1897. And somebody at some point went through, and thankfully in very neat handwriting, they wrote every single name. And that's, I think, what let us know that there were enslaved people. Because they had written these names along one of the walls, and it said, Caesar, slave of so-and-so. So that was a huge discovery. So we got the book, we got that map. There's the Find a Grave website where you can look up people and find where they're buried. 6 or 7 years ago, we had a woman come to do a survey to kind of look at what would need to be repaired and stuff like that. So she gave us a big binder that had all the names and the info. And then those documents I mentioned that our friend found in the City Hall archives. But again, that's kind of the nature of record keeping back then. You have to cobble stuff together from various sources. So that's kind of how we figured out here's who we have.
Yeah, that's dedication working on, that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you have a website. Please tell us what people can find on there.
So information like that, lists of people who are buried there, and I think we have a link to, the Find a Grave website for as many people as we can, verify. There's a lot of articles, sort of blog entry type things about, particular people who are buried there. Some of the Revolutionary War heroes, people with stories, that are interesting. So general information like that. Updates if we have events. Obviously the bocce tournament, we do a couple different tours throughout the year as well. So yeah, a lot of general information about the burial ground and its inhabitants, I guess you could say.
Awesome.
And you talked about upkeep, and I'm sure a burial ground going back this many centuries takes a lot of upkeep. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Sure, yeah. We have to say, like, a lot of landscaping concerns. Trees can be a problem in old burial grounds like this because they weren't there at first. Well, I forget what the word they use for the volunteer trees or something like that. But they grow, the roots spread, they start to knock the gravestones around and push them up. Sometimes gravestones get trapped, like, in a tree. So there's a lot of concerns like that. Gravestones break. They look really solid, but you'd be amazed how easily they can break. Someone's pushing a lawnmower, a little ding, and there it goes.
Well, and they're porous in a New England winter.
Oh yeah, they go through the winters. You can look at the white stones, the marble stones, which at the time, I'm sure when they were put there, they looked spectacular. But they've worn away to almost nothing. You can barely read, some of the inscriptions. And gravestone repair looks deceptively simple, but it's the kind of thing that can really only be done by, like, a specialist. You can't just hire a mason or something to come in there and do it. So that's detailed work, it's specialized work, and it can be expensive work too. So yeah, that's kind of where all our fundraising goes, is into projects like that.
And it sounds like there's a bocce ball fundraiser coming up.
Indeed. The annual Bocce on the Beach tournament, we've been going at it almost 15 years now.
Wow.
And we have a tournament every year, and we usually have about 24 teams, and all the buy-in fees over the cost of the event go straight into these projects. So fixing gravestones, landscaping concerns, the wall that goes around the burial ground is going to need some work. That's our big event, and we've been really lucky because not many organizations like ours have a lot of money to work with. They rely on when they can get grants and things like that. To have a regular source of income like this is huge for us.
Amazing. And for those who want to participate, what does the day look like for them?
So it's going to be August 16th this year, and we've already started reaching out to teams. And you can imagine it's usually like the local dignitaries, politicians, businesses, and whatnot. But on August 16th, so we'll all head down the beach in the morning. Everybody gets checked in. There's a company that comes and handles the actual playing and judging of the scoring and stuff like that. We try to start playing around 9 and wrap things up around lunchtime. Fine Line is very generously going to feed our players this year. So after the tournament wraps up, head over there, everybody has lunch. Medals for the top 3 teams, and the winner gets the very prestigious Mario Pagnoni Memorial Trophy. He started the company that does the actual bocce. The Joy of Bocce, they're up in Methuen, so the trophy's named after him. It's a nice morning on the beach, mildly competitive. Everybody has a good time.
Amazing.
Do you play, Mina?
No.
No. Just the big kids, huh?
Yeah, well, it is kind of a mystery to me. You roll the balls and...
And for those looking to get involved with your organization, what are some ways they could do that?
They could, well, the Burial Ground Committee is kind of like a subgroup. There's Revere Society for Cultural and Historical Preservation, nonprofit that basically runs the museum on Beach Street. So that group is it's a dues-paying organization. Anybody is welcome to join. Coincidentally, we're having an open house / like general meeting at the museum this Thursday at 6 p.m. And anybody is welcome to join, and we certainly encourage anyone who's interested in the museum, in the burial ground, and helping us out in any way to either reach out to us, come by the museum Thursday. We're a friendly bunch, a good group to be a part of, so definitely encourage anyone who's interested to reach out to us.
Okay. And Brendan, can you please give us your contact info?
Sure. So the History Museum, RSCHP, Burial Ground Committee, all on Instagram and Facebook. That's it. I haven't figured out the other ones yet. I think I got to draw the line somewhere. We're not on like TikTok or anything like that. Facebook and Instagram, definitely. Burial Ground's website. The email for the Burial Ground Committee is rmbgcommittee@gmail.com. And you can call the museum, 781-286-2226, and leave a message. And you can reach out to us in those ways. Yeah.
Well, thank you both for all you do for those in need. So we appreciate you coming on the show.
Problem. Thank you so much for having us.
And one last thing, Joe and I are both on the events committee for the Revere Chamber, and we have a couple of events coming up. And Joe, I'll let you start off with those two.
Sure thing. On Wednesday, July 6th at 6:30, there's a Life and Business Workshop seminar. Here it's a free workshop. It's a seminar where you can build your business planning strategies for entrepreneurs in a sustainable way. We cover strategies to reward and retain top talent, maximizing after-tax income to owners, and business succession. That's at the Revere Chamber office. There's also Mass Careers Workshop. That takes place on Monday, July 21st at the Revere Chamber office, 313 Broadway. And here you can work with Mass Career Centers, and learn how to complete your profile, search jobs, and filter for the best results.
Okay, great. And on September 11th, we have our annual Books and Brew, because this will be our third one that we have. And no final details yet, but it looks like we may be having it at Murray's, that they're going to host us. And the Chamber's already had 2 past ones, and people love it. So watch our social media and our website for more deets for that. And our last event that we have coming up later this fall will be our Speed Networking Night on October 9th from 6:30 to 8:30.
It's going to be so much fun.
I know, I can't wait. I love speed networking. It's almost like speed dating if you are into that, but this is a little bit different for speed, have your elevator speech ready. There's going to be appetizers, drinks, and raffles. There's a QR to sign up ahead of time. It's free for chamber members, and it's for non-members, it's $25. It's going to be at the Marina on North Shore Road. So make sure, I'm pretty sure space is going to be limited, and this is going to be a fast one. So make sure you sign up soon.
And bring your business cards.
Oh, yes. Yes, business cards, definitely. If you don't by chance have them, then brochures will work too. But, you have to have some kind of, marketing to let people know who you are and what you do. So one last thing, if you serve the city of Revere as a nonprofit, we'd love to have you join the chamber if you haven't already. You can go on the Revere Chamber of Commerce website and sign up as a nonprofit, and I will have you have on our show. It's a monthly show about nonprofits, and also soon, I haven't set a date yet, soon we're going to have a nonprofit roundtable to help nonprofits if we can, wherever is needed and stuff. So we'd love to have you join. And if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. My email is Judie, Judie, @twctin.org.
And you can reach me at JAPONTE @tndinc.org.
And remember, live each day to the fullest and celebrate life.